everyone. Good morning. This is Zen with Jen. Um, when I was 19, I went through a really traumatic experience, and instantly, this experience made me feel isolated from the rest of my family and my friends, and it took me a long time to understand that. To understand what the feeling that I felt was isolation. And my doggy just woke up. But my ex-boyfriend took my van in the middle of the night. I was sleeping, and with one of our friends, we were both 19, and our friend was younger, was 16. And he was drinking. It was rainy, so the roads were a little bit wet, and he crashed my van into a telephone pole, and that smashed in half, broke in half, and crashed on top of the passenger side of my van, killing our 16-year-old friend. Now, my ex must have gotten scared. He said he was ejected from the windshield, and he left. He must have couldn't bear it, so he fled the scene. So naturally, the police call me because it's my van, and they were describing to me the description of the person who was fatality in my car, and they kept saying it was a different person, because the kid had red hair, blue eyes, and there was only a couple kids like that we knew. And I knew we weren't hanging out with the one person that they were saying. And so I kept telling them who it was. No, it's not who you're saying. It's somebody else. And so they pretty much made me feel like if I didn't go down there and do this positive identification on my friend's dead body, that the body would be basically sitting in the road for God knows how many hours, and also they wouldn't be able to notify next of kin for all that time too. So I went down to the accident scene, and my dad drove me down there, and they have yellow police tape, and they would not let my dad go past the police tape. So he sat in his truck, and the police escorted me from the police tape to my van, which when I saw my van, it was all smashed up. There was no doors on the sides. They had cut the doors off. And so there was a yellow tarp that was like covering the doors, and I could see a foot hanging out of the tarp, a shoe, a sneaker. And they walk me over to the van, and they pull back the tarp, and there's my friend laying there, eyes open, body all smashed up, head on the seat. The body was like in the dashboard, mangled and bloodied, eyes open. And they tell me, I tell them, yes, it's the person who I said it was. And they asked me, are you sure? Turn his head. And it just, I don't know, that's just memories ingrained into my brain. But yeah, so that's what I saw. They had to physically turn me around and walk me back to my dad. And instantly, I was isolated from the rest of my family and friends. What felt like forever. And it still is an isolating experience, but After that, I did get on drugs hardcore, and there's so much more to the story, but that incident alone just made me feel so isolated from the world. And so basically, I'm just here saying that you're not alone if you ever have an experience like that, or you feel, that sort of isolation. But just a little bit about me, I guess, but just part of my story. That's a big part of, where things went south for me. But you can get through it. And yoga was such a big help for me learning how to live comfortably in my own skin, without wanting to numb myself. And it makes me feel good if I get these big feelings about what happened. I can always get on my yoga mat and feel better. But there's more to my story. After that, I was in many abusive relationships, but we'll save that for another time. But yeah, I just wanted everyone to know, when it comes to yoga, I'm nobody special. I just spent time trying to overcome all of those fears and feelings, and it has showed me that I'm capable of doing some really amazing things, like standing on your head, shoulder stand. I mean, when you start doing some of these poses, you really start to gain confidence, and you're like, wow, I did that. And so that's why I post so much about my accomplishments, because what I went through at 19 was life change. I was not the same person again after that. Life changing. But I'm here to say that our trauma does not have to define us, but we can use our trauma to shine light to other people. We can use our trauma as our anchor in wanting to do better. And we can use our trauma to help other people that have been through trauma. And so this is why I know I have something so valuable to share, because if I can, get sober and overcome, that tragic thing that happened to me, that gruesome scene that sometimes plays over and over in my head, anybody can. And I'm here to be your friend in that. But yeah, just a little bit about me. Thank you. I appreciate you taking the time to listen, and have a great day.